Jade thought she was the apex predator, armed with a crossbow, night vision goggles, and a twisted playbook titled Predator vs. Prey. Mason was just her target, a laid-back trainer who had no clue his ex-girlfriend was tracking his every move like a trophy hunt. Brielle, the new girl, was the spark that lit Jade's fuse. But when Jade turned the forest into a trap and tried to stage the ultimate takedown, she forgot one thing. Real predators don't announce themselves. And this time, the prey fought back. The crime scene presents a new page of crime, a new mystery, a new shock case. Jade wasn't just your average girlfriend. She was built different. She had that gym body confidence, a TikTok following full of boss babe energy, and a mindset that screamed control. Mason, her boyfriend, was chill to the bone. Personal trainer, crypto dabbler, and the kind of guy who thought loyalty meant not forgetting your girl's coffee order. He had no clue he was dating someone who treated relationships like surveillance ops. It started small. Jade said she wanted to keep him safe, so she installed a GPS tracker in his car. Mason thought it was sweet. But Jade wasn't watching for accidents. She was logging patterns. She knew when he left for work, when he hit the gym, when he grabbed gas or swung by his favorite smoothie spot. She even tracked his cheat days. It wasn't love, it was data collection. She kept a journal. Not the cute kind with hearts and doodles. This one had timestamps, screenshots, and notes like lingered at gym 12 minutes longer than usual, and Red Bull purchase equals stress spike. Jade was building a profile. Mason was the subject, and she was the hunter. Her obsession didn't stop at tracking. She started showing up randomly, at his gym, his barber, even his crypto meetups. Always just passing by. Mason brushed it off. He thought she was clingy, maybe a little intense. But Jade was playing chess while he was still figuring out checkers. She started planting ideas, asking about his female clients, suggesting he cut back on social media, even offering to manage his calendar. Mason laughed it off. But Jade wasn't joking. She was laying the groundwork for full control. By the time Mason realized something was off, Jade had already mapped his life like a military op. She didn't want to date him. She wanted to own him. And in her mind, the hunt had already begun. Jade didn't just spiral, she went tactical. After Mason started pulling away, she flipped from clingy to calculated. Her TikTok feed shifted overnight. Gone were the gym selfies and motivational quotes. In came survival gear hauls, cryptic captions like "Predators don't beg," and clips of her practicing archery in the backyard. She wasn't just mad, she was prepping for something. Her followers thought it was a rebrand. It wasn't. It was a blueprint. She started training like she was prepping for a manhunt. Bought a crossbow off a sketchy site, ordered night vision goggles, and downloaded military-grade tracking apps. Her journal turned into a playbook. Maps of Mason's favorite trails, timestamps of his gym sessions, and notes on Brielle, the new girl he'd been spending time with. Jade didn't just stalk, she studied. Brielle's Instagram, her yoga studio, even her Spotify playlists. Jade showed up at her classes, never speaking, just watching from the back with a blank stare. Mason had no clue. He was busy soft-launching his new relationship, posting vague couple pics, and building his fitness app. Jade saw every post. She screenshotted everything. She started leaving anonymous comments under Brielle's photos, stuff like, "He's not yours, and you're being watched." Brielle blocked the account, but Jade had 10 more. Then came the gear. Jade bought camo clothes, trail boots, and a tent. She rented a cabin deep in the woods and called it the Zone. Inside were printed photos, red string maps, and a whiteboard labeled Final Hunt. She wasn't planning a confrontation. She was planning a takedown. She practiced silent movement, learned how to skin animals, and filmed herself doing it. Her phone was full of clips she never posted. Just her, in the woods, whispering about control. This wasn't heartbreak. It was obsession with a strategy. And Jade was convinced she could hunt Mason like prey. Mason thought ghosting Jade would be easy. He blocked her number, moved out of their shared apartment, and started fresh in a new part of town. He even soft-launched his new relationship with Brielle, just a blurry photo at brunch, no tags, no captions. But Jade saw it. She saw everything. And instead of blowing up his phone or showing up at his door, she went silent. That silence wasn't peace, it was planning. She deleted her socials, quit her job, and disappeared from her usual spots. Friends thought she was taking a break, but Jade was building something. She rented a remote cabin deep in the woods, paid in cash, and turned it into her base. Inside were maps of Mason's new neighborhood, photos of Brielle's car, and a whiteboard labeled Final Hunt. Jade wasn't heartbroken. She was focused. She started training harder, practicing stealth moves, and filming herself in the woods like she was prepping for a documentary no one asked for. She left notes in Mason's mailbox. No return address, just cryptic lines like, "You're not hard to find," and "Prey always runs." Mason thought it was some weird prank. Brielle was creeped out, but tried to brush it off. They didn't know Jade had already hacked Mason's fitness app, tracked his location history, and cloned Brielle's license plate to follow her unnoticed. Jade wasn't trying to win Mason back. She was trying to break him down. She studied his routines, watched his gym check-ins, and even followed him on hikes without being seen. She'd leave small signs, a broken branch, a trail marker moved, a Red Bull placed where he'd notice. It was psychological warfare, and Mason was the target. The fake breakup wasn't the end, it was the trigger. Jade had gone full predator mode. And while Mason thought he'd escaped, he was already deep in her game. He just hadn't realized the rules had changed. Mason and Brielle thought a weekend hike would be the reset they needed. New city, fresh air, no drama. They picked a trail just outside town, quiet, scenic, nothing too wild. What they didn't know was that Jade had been there for weeks. She'd studied the terrain, mapped every blind spot, and planted fake trail markers to reroute them. Her setup was surgical, motion sensors hidden in trees, animal bones arranged like ritual art, and a tent disguised as a ranger station. It wasn't nature. It was a trap. They followed the wrong path, just like Jade planned. The trail twisted into a clearing that felt off, too quiet, too staged. Mason spotted a Red Bull can on a stump, the same brand he always drank. Brielle noticed a camera mounted to a tree, pointed straight at them. Then came the bones, scattered in a circle, some real, some fake, all meant to mess with their heads. Mason tried to laugh it off. Brielle didn't. She felt it in her gut. Something was watching. Jade stepped out from behind a tree like she'd rehearsed it. Full camo, crossbow in hand, face painted like she was on a mission. She didn't speak. She didn't move. Just stared. Mason froze. Brielle grabbed his arm and bolted. Jade didn't chase. She just watched them run, like prey fleeing the kill zone. They made it back to the trailhead and called 911. Cops showed up, but Jade was gone. No footprints, no gear, just the eerie setup left behind. The tent was empty, the camera wiped, and the bones scattered like she'd never been there. It was psychological warfare, and she'd nailed it. Mason was rattled. Brielle was done. They packed up and left town that night. But Jade wasn't finished. That clearing was just a preview. She wanted Mason to feel hunted. And now he did. Every shadow felt like her. Every sound in the dark, a warning. The cabin looked like something out of a horror movie. Isolated, silent, and surrounded by trees that swallowed sound. When cops finally tracked it down, they didn't know what they were walking into. Inside, it was pure chaos disguised as order. Jade had turned the place into a full-blown stalker lab. The walls were covered in photos of Mason, sleeping, driving, working out. Some were zoomed in so tight you could see the sweat on his forehead. Others were printed from surveillance cams she'd hacked. Brielle's car was pinned on a corkboard with timestamps and GPS coordinates. It wasn't obsession. It was strategy. The centerpiece was a notebook titled Predator vs. Prey. Inside were pages of handwritten notes, Mason's routines, Brielle's habits, even sketches of their apartment layout. Jade had marked weak spots in red ink, circled entry points, and listed escape routes. She'd been watching them for months, collecting data like a predator studying its kill. There were receipts from gas stations Mason frequented, screenshots of Brielle's Spotify playlists, and a list of Mason's gym clients with notes like threat level, low. But the darkest part was the mannequin. Dressed in Mason's old hoodie, stabbed over 50 times with different weapons, knives, arrows, even a screwdriver. It was positioned in the center of the room, surrounded by candles and Polaroids. Jade had filmed herself attacking it, practicing angles, timing her strikes. The footage was stored on a hard drive labeled Final Cut. Cops found no signs of Jade herself, no fingerprints, no recent food, no phone. Just the setup. It was like she'd vanished into thin air after leaving behind a blueprint for something far worse. Mason and Brielle were moved to a safe house. The cabin was sealed off, but the damage was done. Jade had crossed the line from obsession to execution. And the scariest part? She hadn't even made her final move yet. Jade didn't vanish, she adapted. After cops raided her cabin and found the Stalker setup, they expected her to be hiding nearby. But she was already 2 states away, working at a gas station under a fake name, hair dyed, voice changed, living off-grid like she'd trained for it. Surveillance caught her once. Blurry footage of her slipping out the back during a routine patrol. No phone, no credit cards, just cash and burner IDs. She was in full ghost mode. Mason and Brielle were moved to a safe house, but paranoia followed. Every creak in the floor, every flicker on a security cam felt like Jade. She'd left behind more than threats. She'd left psychological scars. Brielle stopped posting online. Mason deleted his fitness app. They tried to disappear, but Jade kept finding cracks. A voicemail with heavy breathing. A flower delivery with no sender. A photo of their new apartment taped to the windshield of Mason's car. She wasn't chasing them. She was circling. Cops launched a multi-state manhunt, but Jade was slippery. She used hiking trails, campgrounds, and truck stops to move undetected. Her TikTok resurfaced briefly, one cryptic video of a forest with the caption "still watching." It got pulled within hours, but not before it racked up thousands of views. True crime junkies started tracking her like a celebrity fugitive. Reddit threads blew up. Some called her brilliant. Others called her broken. But everyone agreed. She was dangerous. Then came the slip-up. Jade tried to break into Mason's new apartment. She left a dead rabbit on the bed and scrawled, "You're next," in lipstick across the mirror. What she didn't know was that the place had motion sensors. Cops got the alert, rolled in fast, and found her hiding in the closet with a hunting knife and a GoPro strapped to her chest. She didn't fight. She just smiled. Jade was arrested on the spot. But the damage was done. Jade's arrest didn't end the story. It just shifted the spotlight. The footage from her GoPro leaked within days. Clips of her stalking Mason, whispering to herself in the woods, practicing knife strikes on mannequins dressed in his clothes. It was raw, disturbing, and viral. True crime channels jumped on it. TikTok sleuths dissected every frame. Reddit threads blew up with theories about her mental state, her obsession, and whether she'd planned to livestream the final act. She wasn't just a criminal. She was content. In court, Jade played it cool. She called her actions performance art, claimed the rabbit on the bed was symbolic, and said the lipstick message was part of a social experiment. The jury didn't buy it. Her notebooks, her gear, the footage, it was too calculated, too real. She got 25 years without parole. No tears, no apology, just a smirk as she was led away. Mason and Brielle disappeared from public view, changed names, moved states, wiped their socials. But the trauma stuck. Mason stopped training clients. Brielle quit her job. They lived behind cameras and alarms, always looking over their shoulders. Jade had turned their lives into a horror film, and even with her locked up, the credits hadn't rolled. Online, Jade became a twisted icon. Fan pages popped up. Edgy merch with her quotes sold out. Some called her brilliant. Others called her broken. But everyone agreed. She was unforgettable. The girl who thought she could hunt her boyfriend like prey. Who turned heartbreak into warfare. Who mistook obsession for power. The final twist? A year after her sentencing, a new video surfaced. A blurry clip of Jade in the woods, filmed weeks before her arrest. She's staring into the camera, whispering, "This isn't the end." Whether it was real or staged didn't matter. It went viral. And just like that, Jade's story kept breathing, long after the hunt was over.